program to bring you a special report.
Welcome to the second Tuesday of last week's news. I'm Michael Michaels.
And I'm Sandy Sanders. Let's get right into the headlines. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick made headlines earlier this week by pushing to reopen Texas because there are more important things than living. Yes, that is a direct quote.
Later, Patrick released an ad stating he is now pro-choice on Grandma.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Best Picture winner Parasite has recently been added to Hulu, and many viewers were angry that they had to read English subtitles throughout the film. Hulu responded to one of these complaints on Twitter, stating, "If you don't want to read subtitles, then you can always learn Korean."
Then the entire anime community all breathed a collective sigh of relief. A new study released found that 25% of people in Wyoming had more than one drink during the workday.
When surveyors asked for a reason, the overwhelming response was, living in Wyoming. In Portland, Oregon, a strip club has gotten creative to bring in revenue by starting a food delivery service called Uber Eats, where dancers personally bring food to your door.
This has caused some confusion when an Uber Eats driver was asked to show me your after dropping off some TGI Fridays. American Airlines caused some controversy when it forced its only 11 passengers to sit in 3 back-to-back rows because, according to the flight attendant, that would be an upgrade.
Afterward, the company sent out a customer-wide email, including their new motto, American Airlines, during this challenging time, we're still here to you.
Some experts say getting outside while practicing social distancing is good for your mental health.
A local forest service is putting a new twist on that information, taking it one step further, claiming that hugging trees could be a good alternative instead of hugging people.
This would be largely beneficial for Luke, considering he hasn't touched anyone in months.
It's true.
And that's the second Tuesday of last week's news. I'm Sandy Sanders.
And I'm Michael Michaels. This segment has been brought to you by Chub Hub. Do more with your chub.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Kristin and Jonathan Show. Guys, we are so happy to be back again for cycle 2, episode 2. Jonathan is on drink 2 or 7. We never know.
Somebody drank all my tequila. I don't.
Again?
And
they haven't caught the guy, have they?
He just runs through and drinks my tequila and then leaves. That's the problem.
Does he have a beard and glasses?
He does. And he looks similar to me, so that could be. It might be me.
But we're super excited today. We've got some really interesting people to introduce you to from the community. We've got Lace Larrabee doing some stand-up comedy. Amazing. We've got Harmony Humpdey up in the mix again after her amazing segment last week. Humpdey.
Humpdey. It's Harmony Humpdey.
Hump day? Is she humping every day?
It's hump day, like Wednesday. I think, I don't know. Maybe her family used to be calendrist. And
I mean, I don't want to pretend to know people's lives, but I'm just happy to have her.
Me too.
Just as happy about having Mark Kendall and his amazing improv tips on character building.
Yeah, he's going to give us some character tips and like how to be in scenes. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn.
Me too. I feel like we all have a lot to learn, especially from a prodigy like Mark.
Right.
He's definitely out there doing some great things. Similarly to Too Many Cooks.
Oh, Too Many Cooks.
Too Many Cooks. And, kind of like you can't have too many tacos.
Oh, too many tacos, too many cooks.
And before we move on to all of our comedy slots, I would love to get the studio audience interacting with us today.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a fun game called Tell Me Everything You Like About Our Show.
Oh,
before the match burns my hand.
Guys, this is scary. This is freaking me out. More comments. This is not enough comments. guys, she's serious. Like,
Do you see the...
Oh, you guys got so lucky. So lucky.
But anyways, we really appreciate your feedback. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Jonathan and Kristin. Still pronouncing my name wrong. Did you grow up with the childhood story of Humpty Dumpty on the wall? Because that's how it's pronounced. Okay, let's get on with it. We were wondering how the women of Sex and the City were after all this time. So a couple weeks ago, we caught up with them right before everyone went on lockdown. Enjoy!
At last, I was really getting into my new assignment on what millennial men want, and I was totally lost. Apparently, young men no longer find it appealing when a gal can drink her own body weight in malt liquor or polish off a pack of Camel Lights. My liver and I were feeling shortchanged having fought through singledom during the time of Generation X. I was now a solidified cougar, ready to pounce on the green juice-loving generation. Thank you, next. Meanwhile, across town in a $3.5 million condominium which replaced the abandoned Sunoco station where I dropped acid for the first time, there was Charlotte, grappling with her own new realty reality.
Trey, am I allowed to worry about the future? I mean, you're a doctor, but what if we grow old and we can't agree upon the wallpaper? And what if our child doesn't get into Northwestern? And also, what if the drug cartel that I've been laundering money for since 1999 decides to replace me? But I just don't know if I can live with this wallpaper.
Meanwhile, across town but in the other direction at a law firm next to the overlook at the north side of Midtown Tunnel where I rolled my first honey blunt, there was Miranda, making molehills out of men.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I must have kind of phased off for a second. My girlfriends go out for drinks at least 3 times a day, and I'd like to confirm that those pieces of evidence were indeed a mistake. The rubber nipples were a prank put into my evidence bag by my friend Samantha. It's all just a prank. It's just some girls having some fun with me. Oh, I have a Zoom call.
Meanwhile, across town in an undisclosed location, Samantha was patching us all into a Zoom meeting for an important announcement.
Good afternoon, ladies.
What is that?
What? It's a dirty martini.
Oh, come on, Sam.
Does it even have any olive juice?
No.
Samantha, what's the big announcement?
I'm here to tell you about the charities that I'm donating to now. I'm a good person. The first is, oh yeah.
Oh, come on, Sam.
What? It's Oprah's new one. Another one is called Fanciful Fowl.
Okay, bye, Samantha.
They knit little sweaters for duckies.
Cute.
Oh, you love it.
Okay. The last one is called Oral Connections.
Right, like AURAL. It's a cause for people with the hearing.
Oh no. All they do is focus on...
Okay, bye, ladies. I have to get back to work at my very important job.
and really deep...
That's when I realized, maybe with millennial men, we're judging the book by the cover. Do we cut off our nose to spite our faces? And if we do that, does it matter if we put the cart in front of the horse? And if we're putting the cart in front of the horse, does that mean we're looking a gift horse in the mouth? A wise woman once said, a watched pot never boils. But that doesn't mean it can't sizzle. They say a stopped clock is right twice a day, But is that only when we look at the clock? And who decided the clock was broken? Are we doomed to live our lives? And what if... How can we...
Oh, I love drinking. It's my favorite. Drinking's changed, though, for me lately. Like when I was in my early 20s, I'd go out with my girlfriends, and nobody cared what you did for the night. Nobody even did the rhyme back then. It wasn't like, is it beer before liquor gets you sicker, or is it liquor before beer gets you pregnant? Like, nobody even did. Nobody cared. You just drank anything. You just drank whatever Chad's buying at the bar. That's what you drank. You just mixed it all. Clear liquor, brown liquor, purple drink that some nice guy named Jerome offered you outside the strip club. Yeah. It's a lot more fun. No responsibility. Well, there were some responsibilities. Just one girl, she was the mother hen. She just had to make sure that no one in the group got Cosby'd. So we had some... Drinking now, though, when I try to get my girlfriends to get together and go out, it's like once every 8 months, maybe, if you can. A lot more responsibilities now, a lot more rules. There's one girl, she's got the app on her phone. She's trying to figure out if the wine's gluten-free. Got another girl, she's like timing it, trying to see how long it's been since Meg breastfed, because we don't want to get the baby drunk again. Very different. And all the girls are like, oh, we've got 5 people here? Okay, we're gonna split 1 bottle of wine. And I'm in the back like, no, I'll have a bottle of wine to warm up. You can do whatever you want. I'm just looking forward to like being in my 40s when all my friends are divorced and they're back to being drunken whores again. That's what we've got some in here.
And we're back, everybody. This is Kristin and Jonathan, and we are here with, oh, there he is. We are here with Lace Larrabee.
Hey, it's me. I'm Lace.
And we are happy to have her on our show. I cannot say enough good things about Lace Larrabee. I know she doesn't know me as well, but I feel like I've known her just from, the short interaction that, I had with her and just everybody else.
A bit of cyber stalking as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry.
No.
Anyway.
Hey, cyber stalking is the only way to keep me relevant during this time. So, and if I get real lonely, I might be down with like actual stalking. So I'll just put out my address.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to hang out outside.
I'm already outside your window. But on a serious note, thank you again for being here. I know me personally, I just really am curious about, what inspired you? Like, how did you start this crazy journey that you're on right now with, pursuing performance and stand-up comedy?
So I've always been funny. It's just, that's where it starts, right? You got to believe that you truly are funny. And I come from a really funny family. My parents had me when they were teenagers. We went through some hard times, right? Because you have teenage parents, everybody's raising each other. Like we're all just being raised together. And to get through hard shit, we laughed about it. And we're also really good at like roasting each other. We gotta, keep everybody in the family real grounded. Don't let anyone get up too high. I got into acting and stuff when I was a kid, just kind of haphazardly. There was a movie being filmed and we went and submitted to be extras or whatever. Actually, we lied. We walked up. We weren't even extras. They needed like 2,000 people for a thing. And this was like 3rd day of filming. I'll tell you the movie. It was Something to Talk About with Julia Roberts. I don't know if you remember that from the 90s. And my mom and I just walk right up and my mom goes to check in and she's like, hi, yes, we're Ginger Larrabee and Lace Larrabee. And I'm little, I'm like 9. And they're like, you're not on the list. She's like, well, this is ridiculous. Karen said that we were supposed to be signed in. And they're like, well, we're so sorry. We must have just lost some paperwork here. Just fill out this paperwork and come on in. Well, all because the goal was like to get me next to Julia Roberts. It was like any way to get me because as a kid, I, much like Julia Roberts, just had a giant mouth that didn't match. Like I had not grown into my mouth and horse teeth. And everyone was like, oh my God, you look like a mini Julia Roberts. Not now. But then I did. And so that was the goal, right? And then that kind of got the bug doing the feature stuff. And then I got an agent and did some model searches in malls. Y'all remember malls?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then life happens. I did pageants for a while to pass the time, to perform, to get on stage and all that. I didn't have any other choice, and I had this hair, so I had to do something with that. Yeah, and then, but I always loved stand-up. I was obsessed with stand-up comedy. I just didn't know how to like get into it. And then I lucked up when I was like 20. Well, it doesn't matter how old I was, but I was like 28, I guess. So if anybody's worried about like, oh, you got to start when you're like 8 years old, like Dave Chappelle, no, you don't. You can start later. And yeah, I knew a bar regular, like told me to do a show. He put me on a show that he was running, and that was it. It's so funny when people are like, those are two different, how did you go from pageants to stand-up? And I'm like, they're almost exactly the same. Like there's so much discipline in stand-up that people don't even realize. They think you're just up there shooting the shit, and there is so much back-end work that people never see. So yeah, that's what made it so much easier for me too, was the comfort on stage in front of a live audience. Because once you've gotten up in like a bikini and you've literally been judged by the judgiest people, which are just former beauty queens and a bunch of gay men, they are judging every piece of your body, everything that you're doing. And so if you can handle that kind of pressure, on stage this far away from them in a swimsuit, then you can handle a drunk heckling audience at a comedy club.
So you're saying to really be good at comedy, we should all go and be beauty queens first.
100%. Yeah. People start to worry about not accomplishing things by a certain age, especially in the arts. I think it's not an irrational fear. It's a very rational fear. But what it is it's kind of a waste of time to put your energy into thinking, oh, I should have, or I should have done it. Because I got to be honest, the funniest people have lived life and have something to talk about. Yeah. So if I would have started stand-up 7 years or 10 years before I did, I would have spent those 10 years talking about things that I thought the audience thought was funny, instead of talking about things from my personal experience, from my lived life.
So somebody that's kind of new to the scene, maybe they've taken a class, maybe they haven't taken a class. What would you, if you had one thing of advice that you could give them, what would that advice be for somebody that's new into the comedy scene?
So my bit of advice cannot be utilized yet until life gets safer and stand-up happens again. But my advice is always the first advice that I ever got. The advice that I give people is always the first advice I ever got from a real working comedian, which was get on stage. Anyone who is like, well, what should I do first beforehand? And I can say that, and I teach it was voted Atlanta's #1 stand-up comedy class in 2019. So thank you. So obviously I promote, that's what I do, is I teach stand-up. But in addition to that, if you're just considering it, there's no better advice than just getting on a stage. There's no way, because even still after they take a stand-up class, nothing teaches you that's why the end of my stand-up class is a graduation show, because nothing teaches you what stand-up feels like, what you need to improve on, what's working, what doesn't work, what resonates off stage, than being on stage and just trying it.
You've got a podcast, right?
Yes. So the podcast is Cheaties. That's the name of it. My co-host is Catherine Blanford, who's also a super funny stand-up comedian in Atlanta, another professional comic. And she just back in December, she went through a breakup after a 3-year relationship because she caught her boyfriend cheating. And I do a bit on stage. Yeah. And I do a bit where I talk about how I caught my ex cheating. And she literally texted me to go, I'm pulling a lace right now. As a verb, I'm pulling a lace. She literally was like, I had to take his phone, hide, scroll, screenshot. I took all the information, I sent it to myself, and then I deleted it all. Anyway, so that's kind of how it birthed, and we talked about that. And then I came up with the name Cheaties, like Wheaties, so we're on a steel box. We've got knives instead of spoons. So we're on episode 10. Episode 10 just came out this week. Episode 11 will be out Friday. We've got 2 episodes a week, Monday and Friday. So the format of the show is like we started it out with our own personal stories, and then we kind of pepper those in, but mainly we get callers, and they leave us voicemails of their cheating stories, and then we call them and we interview them.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Cheaties, look it up, watch it, download it. And now we got to go to our sponsors.
Oh, yay!
Hi guys, I am an introvert and I'm living my best life these days. And I wanted to share some of the things that I'm doing to maybe help you guys live your best life while we shelter in place together. Some of the things I'm doing are self-care, and some are things that I'm teaching myself. Like gardening, like making quilts, and tapestry pillows. And meditation. And since March, I've read 50 books. So let's get creative and do new things like dressing up for dinner even if you're the only one here. Let's find ways we can be productive with this gift of isolation. And now that my cookies are done baking, I'm gonna call my twin sister. She's an extrovert. I haven't heard from her in a while, and I hope she's okay. I miss people.
All right, we've got Mark Kendall with us.
Hey, how's it going? It's great to see you again. I know it's been kind of a crazy week, but just
Hey.
I think we've improved on last week's audio issues, right? Like you should be hearing me fine, right? Blink twice if you can hear me. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, great.
Is he frozen?
Okay.
You got something good for us this week?
I do. Hello? Well, y'all, I would imagine that a decent portion of the audience maybe comes from the improv world or maybe the sketch comedy world. And so rather than showing you what's out my window, because I think I pretty successfully did that last week, I figured this week what I would do instead was go over some character techniques for building a character. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
What makes
Great.
it
Awesome. Cool. So it's a pretty simple 3-step process.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, there he's back. Mark, we lost you.
I'm very confused.
That's cool. Well, I'm going to show you 3 simple steps to.
We've got to get some help.
We're ready.
My Wi-Fi is messing up. Okay, great. All right, so here we go. So if you want to make a good improv character, the thing is to get really physical. So things might
Physical.
that, so still see me, and then you'll be like, "Whoa!" Right, and then something is birthed right in front of. It will get really dangerous, and then pow, and then you're done. Great, and that's it.
And on to our sponsors.
Hello, and welcome to Views on History. I'm Professor Swindoll. Our topic of discussion for today is Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks was the first man to fall in what became known as the Boston Massacre of 1770. Now, who was he? He was an enslaved mixed-race individual of African and Native American parentage. He was enslaved in Framingham, Massachusetts, but he ran away in the late 1700s. Now, he made it 20 miles all the way to Boston, where he worked for many years as a seaman and rope maker in Boston Harbor. Now, he ended up getting embroiled in the conflict between the colonists and the British Redcoat Army, which had been stationed there to quell the tensions before the Revolution. Now, Attucks got mixed up with some colonists who were throwing snowballs and sticks, goading the British Redcoat soldiers, and they ended up opening fire, killing 5 colonists in cold blood.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with the Too Many Cooks. We are with Catherine, Sarah, Sam, and Paul. And Kiara. So many puzzles you could be doing right now. So many movies to watch, but instead you chose to spend your time on our show. And for that, we thank you. How did you guys all meet? So how did it become, did you guys start off as a couple of people and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this 2-man improv group turned into 30 people and now we're Too Many Cooks?
Don't everybody answer at once.
Most members of Too Many Cooks, myself not included, they were all in level 2 together. And then I think y'all called each other like the Taco Tuesdays or something. Yeah. And then level 3 started, and then I was joined up with y'all. So that's how I joined. And we initially had like 18 people.
17, I think.
17, level 3. Came out of our level 3 class was when we decided to become a team, and there were 18 people in that class.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
so
then-
y'all made a team of 17, but there were 18 people in the class? Who was the person that you left out? Breaking news.
Just in.
Was there an 18th person?
I think it was 17 people. Maybe it was 17. Yeah.
It was the entire class that was the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
William, welcome.
Welcome
Hey.
to our team.
Well,
It's just Will.
He's here to contradict every opinion I have about food.
Here's what I want to know. What's the weird thing that you've realized that you do since you've been in quarantine that you didn't realize that you did before? I'll go first. I realized that I only cut my fingernails when I'm going to do a show on stage. So since we haven't had any shows, I was trying to respond to a text the other day, and all I could hear was that was my thumbnails on the screen. I'm like, okay, I've not performed in a while. I need to go trim my nails.
So I realized in quarantine that I thought my blinds, or what do you call these things? What are those? Shades? Curtains, yeah, whatever. Those. I thought those were not see-through this whole time. And
I realized, do a peep show every night.
I've realized that, yes, I have been fully exposed to anybody spying in my backyard.
Nice.
well, I'd hope, I mean, there wouldn't be people in your backyard. So if there are people in your backyard, I think you'd have more problems than them seeing your butt.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm asleep.
Or you completely made someone's day.
Completely fine. I just realized that my hair needs to be combed at all times. Hence the hat. You can't see it, but like there's
today.
Right. But like I will just end up sitting awkwardly, and my hair will be like, you know what? That was uncomfortable for me, and it will make 19 shapes on its head, and it's just not. It works for me. I think I'm fine with looking like a polygon.
I guess I realized that my whole time management thing, I was always like, oh, I'm so busy. I don't have time to do chores. But it just turns out I just don't like doing them. So, I have all the time in the world to do those things I never had time to do. Still not going to do them.
I've realized that I don't like doing anything.
That's fair.
I have realized that if I don't have things to do in the evening and I'm left to my own devices, kind of like Sam, I don't enjoy doing anything. And it's like daytime, I feel like I'm being productive. And then it's the evening time, it's like, well, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anyone to see. I don't have anything to do. I guess I'll sit right here on this couch for 6 hours. I could do all these things, getting back to creative expression, like whatever, but no, I'm gonna just sit here and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians again.
There's like a freedom in doing like something dumb and knowing that you could do other things. You're like, I'm just so happy that I have all these options of things that I'm going to do, and I am choosing to watch reality television.
Yeah.
It's nice not having improv every night or dance class or meetings. I'm just at home watching TV. I made myself a list of things I would do, like, you know, learn piano and read all the 50 books I keep buying, but no.
A few months ago, we had a Hanukkah party where we made latkes, and I admired this about Catherine. I get a text from her like in the middle of the party, and it was just like, hey, I'm not gonna make it. I'm at home watching TV, and that's what I want to be doing right now. Like, if it were me or anyone else, I would have been like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, or oh, I have to do this thing, and it went later than I thought. I'm not gonna be able to make it. But she was just brutally honest, like, I'm not gonna be watching TV. And I respect the hell out of that.
Well, Too Many Cooks, thank you for being on the show. We've got to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
What's happening? My name is Grant Cooper, and I'm not a professor. But let me tell you about this brother named Crispus Attucks, who was the first person shot in the Boston Massacre. Now, Crispus Attucks was a light-skinned brother who was a slave, and he ran away, and he was on the lam for 20 years, where he ended up only 20 miles into Boston. All right. Now, the thing is, Boston, right? But this was before GPS. And Boston, let me tell you about Boston. Even today, as a black person, if you don't play for the Celtics or the Patriots, white people look at you like you're a runaway slave. And that's the last place you want to be, where white people are getting ready to fight other white people. So anyway, he hooks up with these Irish dudes, right? Back when Irish were cool with black people, apparently. And they decide they're going to throw snowballs at the British troops. Now, the British troops used to wear those red jackets that look like the Nutcracker. So that's the last thing they would want on some snow on their jackets, right? So what the British do? They cap their ass, put bullets in them, boom, boom. And the thing is, black people, ever since that free boat ride to America, we've been in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And that's our show, everybody. Thank you so much.
I like this part. I don't like it. I want to keep going. What? Are you okay? Did you turn into a flamingo?
No, everything's fine. This is fine.
Don't do your neck like that. You might hurt it. Don't do it.
Oh God, it already happened.
I just got flashback to, what was that, the early 2000s?
Scene Kids.
Scene Kids. Like here at the end of the show, a very scene kid. I never understood that though. Like, are they is it like they're in a scene or they're being seen? Like, how is it spelled? I've never seen it spelled.
We're so hardcore, right? That we'll cause a scene wherever. Like.
Okay, so it's like causing a scene. So.
Well, no, it's just like, you know, I just listen to a lot of Born of Osiris.
Okay.
And a lot of, like, you know, of Mice and Men. And
wasn't he in Lord of the Rings, Born of Osiris?
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm late for my metal show, so if we could wrap this up.
Okay, I guess we'll see y'all next week.
See you guys next week. Be on the lookout for more postings under the Kristin and Jonathan Morning Show Facebook page.